Hi, and welcome to the Likeable Forms ZenDesk extension tutorial. So today we're going to show you how to set up your ZenDesk extension. To get started, you'll need to go ahead and add in all of your keys. So the first one you'll need is your Likeable Forms license key. Now for ZenDesk, we actually require 3 different pieces of information from you. You'll need your ZenDesk API token, your ZenDesk account email address, and lastly, your ZenDesk subdomain. If you don't know where to find this information, check out the Q&A section for our ZenDesk extension, and that'll go over all of the details that you'll need. Now, if this is the first time setting this up, you do want to go ahead and hit verify license key. Mine says update because we went ahead and already took care of this. Give it a second for your keys to validate, and if everything checks out, we can go ahead and move on into our extension settings. So the first step is obviously enabling our settings. ZenDesk works on a per form basis. So if you don't want to create tickets inside of ZenDesk for a specific form, just don't enable the settings. So let's go ahead and enable ours. Now that we've enabled our settings, we can go ahead and create the ticket. The first step is creating a ticket subject and also the ticket message. So ZenDesk works similarly to how emails work. You're going to have a subject and then you'll actually have the body of the message. So it's very familiar. It's a very familiar layout inside of ZenDesk that you would have in your typical email account. So to get started, we can type in, for example, some static text such as new ticket, but let's say maybe we want to have some more context on our customer who's opening the ticket with us. So what I would like to do is actually add a few fields to our form and be able to use some of that data that's being submitted with our form to actually create more of a dynamic subject. So I'll show you what I mean. Let's go ahead and jump into our form, and we're going to add an email address. Let's also add a couple of text fields and also one text area field. And let's also add one file upload field. Now for these text fields, they're really great for names. So for example, if we go ahead and change out the field labels to first name and last name, we can then jump back into our extension settings and use that to create those dynamic fields for us when we open up the ticket inside of ZenDesk. So for example, for the ticket subject, we can say new ticket from, and now we can add the customer's first name. So now it will say new ticket from so-and-so's name. So it just provides a little more context on who you're communicating with and adds that little extra touch of professionalism inside of ZRM, especially when you're actually communicating with the customers. The next step is actually creating our ticket message. So for our ticket message, we typically just recommend using the text area because it allows your customer who's submitting the form to be able to ask several questions and provide a lot of context. So the text areas are typically going to accept more text and content from your users, from your customers, than other standard fields. So let's go ahead and just select the text area field. Now lastly, I do want to point something out to you. These little dynamic tags, you see these little curly braces around the dynamic tags here, that's going to change at runtime. So don't feel intimidated if they look a little bit funny. Don't worry about it. It will change when you receive the ticket inside of ZenDesk. Now the next step is we need to assign our customer's email address. So for each new ticket inside of ZenDesk, we're also going to create a contact or update an existing contact. So since we already have an email address field in our form, we'll just go ahead and select the email address field. Now for our customer's full name, as you notice in our form, we added a first and last name. Let's go ahead and delete one of these and change it to full name. Now when you make a change like this, your dynamic tags may not update dynamically in fields that you've already added them to, but don't worry about it, it will still work. And when we jump back down here into the customer's full name, we can go ahead and still select the updated field that we're going to be using for the customer's first full name this time. Now the final 2 steps is assigning a ticket priority and also how we want to handle file uploads. So by default, we have 4 priorities that we can choose from: low, normal, high, or urgent. For the sake of the demo, we're just going to select low, but if this is a more important or it's a time-sensitive form, you can always select any one of these options that are more suitable for your case. And then the final step is if you have file upload fields in your form and you would like to include them as more like a form of like an attachment, just like you would get into an email, you just select yes. If you select no, we'll still collect the files and we'll also add them into the submission itself so you can still view those, but we won't include it as an attachment inside of ZenDesk. There you have it.